Are you able to stay for a moment or two to ask,
Sure.
Answer any,
Sure.
if there are any questions at this stage? Yes, there is a question.
Once you've had the feedback, John, what's going to happen next? Is there going to be a green paper or a communication?
Well, as I said, we don't go into this with any prejudged outcome. I think what we want to see is what we get back. I'm expecting something, I'm expecting quite a lot to come out of it. But we will not decide how to proceed until we receive your input. And depending on what we receive, we will discuss with the Commissioner what is the best approach. I mean, a green paper is obviously one approach, but it's not necessarily the only approach to what we might do. It's important also to stress the point that what we're doing here is gathering evidence which will help us to feed into what are statutory reviews anyway coming up under all of these pieces of legislation. But the concern with those reviews is that, we do the review on the piece of legislation. And we don't see, we keep looking at the trees and we don't really get a good picture of the woods. And this public consultation is designed to give us this more holistic overview, which will allow us to fit those things in. So we don't have a preconceived idea of what we want to do yet. We wait to see what comes out.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Yes,
please. The way that you've launched the call for evidence sort of suggests that you're looking for specific evidence of specific problems with some of the regulation that's been introduced, and it sort of feels like it's is shifting the burden, if you will, to to the industry, to others, to say, well, to unpick the combined impacts of regulation on and to try to make cases for what specific impacts from specific rules have had potentially negative outcomes, which seems given the various speakers from the Commission have indicated how hard it is to to unpick the different bits of regulation. It feels like it's a very high standard and a very difficult thing for industry then to kind of identify the specifics of regulation to to respond to that challenge, rather than sort of taking other ways of kind of looking at the issue. And I just wondered, it seems a slightly different tone than the Commissioner has, when he's talked about kind of rebalancing the regulatory impacts and looking at it. And just wondered if you'd like to comment on that.
Well, first of all, let me say I have never found that the industry ever has any difficulty in identifying what it has found as a problem in financial regulation. Okay? What I do have difficulty is understanding what the real problem is. So it's perfectly fine to come and say, I don't like X, I don't like Y. But X and Y have been introduced because we have a problem. And because you don't like X or Y, and if we take X and Y away, our problem stays. So some of you who know me will know I've always told people who come to my office that if you come not liking my solution, well, give me another one that's better, but still solves my problem. So in a sense, what this public consultation is doing is exactly that. We know from the industry that, and they've told us over and over, that there's a sort of cumulative impact here, which is difficult to see, but is there. We have tried to do this in a sort of economic-y way. As an economist, we have tried to run sort of cumulative studies using models, but these are what we would call general equilibrium models. They're not so easy to do. So we have tended to end up looking at things either qualitatively or linearly. So this is, in a sense, another approach. What we're saying to the industry is, look, you tell us you have a problem, you get more specific, and you give us evidence of the problem. so that we can understand. I mean, an example I'm using all the time, and I used it just before I came in here, is of market liquidity. We, back in 2008, decided to de-risk the trading books of banks. This was a decision we made, which I think was a wise decision. We expected it to impact liquidity, but we expected it to impact the pricing of liquidity. So risk would be internalized into the price. We did not expect that a lot of people would simply withdraw from the business completely. Why didn't we see it? Well, I mean, I'm still in conversation with the market to understand why we didn't see it. But what I'm taking from that is that this is about the microstructure of the market and the banks. Something we cannot see from where we are, but you can see from where you are. Now, we are never going to see that. That's something you can see. So you need to tell us about this. You need to tell us about it. You need to give us evidence of it and give us something to work with. Does that mean that if I was to go back to 2008, because I have a problem with liquidity in markets, I would not de-risk the trading books of banks? No. But there may be things you might do, recalibrations, tweaks, that might have made the problem less severe. We don't know. But that's an example of what we're talking about. The sort of helicopter view doesn't give you that. We need evidence, and we need evidence from you about your microstructure. So I think for me, it's perfectly in line with what the Commissioner has been saying. He has been very clear. This is about rebalancing. It's not about tearing up rule books. This is about maintenance. And indeed, if we were in the steady state, our job would be exactly that. We would have a body of regulation, and our job would be to continuously review it to ensure that it's delivering the results that we want. And in a sense, this is what we're doing now.